German Chancellor Olaf Scholz is in Istanbul for talks with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Their meeting comes amid strained relations between Germany and Turkey. The countries disagree on a range of issues, especially the ongoing war in Gaza. At the same time, the two NATO allies have been working closely together when it comes to migration policies and trade. Let's get more from Julia Han, DW correspondent in Istanbul. Hello, Julia. What's your takeaway after following the presser with Erdogan and Scholz?
You know, considering how strained Turkish-German relations have been in recent years, what really stood out for me today is how the German Chancellor and the Turkish President were trying to convey a positive and friendly atmosphere. Erdogan called Scholz his friend. Scholz repeatedly thanked Erdogan for his cooperation on issues like migration, for example. I think they really wanted to send the message that German-Turkish relations are at a good point and set to improve. But of course, that doesn't hide the differences, the obvious differences between Berlin and Ankara, especially when it comes to Israel and Gaza. You have the German Chancellor, a strong supporter of Israel. Today, again, he emphasized the country's right to self-defense against Hamas and Hezbollah attacks. He also recently said Germany would continue to supply arms to Israel. And then you have the Turkish president, who's one of the fiercest critics of Israel's military campaign in Gaza and its recent deadly push into Lebanon. He today again openly accused the government of Benjamin Netanyahu of committing genocide in Gaza. At the same time, Erdogan endorses Hamas. Unlike his Western allies, he doesn't consider the group a terrorist organization, but a liberation movement. But normally, when we hear Mr. Erdogan speaking, he would attack Western countries for their unwavering support for Israel. But I had the impression he was deliberately trying not to do this today. He didn't directly confront or attack Olaf Scholz. They do have something in common on this issue. Of course, both sides are pushing for a ceasefire for Gaza. But again, a more constructive agenda is seemingly the goal here. Turkey and Germany are important trade partners. Germany is the most important trade partner for Turkey in Europe, with a bilateral trade volume of more than 50 billion euros. So that is a lot of money. And I think Erdogan also has an interest of that relationship to further develop.
Right. Turkey wants to buy Eurofighter Typhoon jets. What did Germany's Scholz say about this?
Well, Turkey wants to buy 40 of these fighter jets, which are jointly built by Germany, the UK, Spain and Italy. And all of these four countries have to agree to an export. And so far, Berlin had been putting the brakes on it over legal and human rights concerns. In recent years, the German government has only approved limited arms exports to Turkey, but that seems to be changing. According to reports, Berlin has recently green-lighted some weapons exports to Turkey, and there seems to be some movement on the Eurofighter issue as well. Let's listen to what Chancellor Scholz had to say today about this.
Turkey is a member of NATO, and because of that, we always make decisions that lead to actual deliveries. We've made decisions like that recently, and there will be more soon. There are other projects that are in the early stages. The Eurofighter issue is one that the British government is moving forward with. Negotiations have just begun. In this respect, it is something that will continue to develop. But it's the UK that's developing that plan further.
So maybe not the immediate breakthrough Erdogan was hoping for, but some positive signals. And if that deal happens, that is certainly something the Turkish president would sell as a success to his domestic audience here in Turkey.
Right. Julia, there's been some bumpy times, as you've also alluded to. But overall, relations between Germany and Turkey have sort of cooled down in recent years. So knowing all that we know now, how would you describe the relationship between the two NATO allies?
Well, it certainly feels as if they're trying to somehow have a fresh beginning. Germany and Turkey need each other. There's no doubt about it. But my understanding is that the German government, at least, has adopted a much more pragmatic approach to dealing with President Erdogan and his government. That means maybe less public criticism of the human rights situation here in the country, the democratic backsliding under Erdogan that is still happening. Instead, a focus on cooperation, on common interests, on trade. And I think that has to do also with the fact that the global order is changing, specifically after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. We have a different geopolitical setting, and that's the assessment within the German government. They do see Turkey as an important and indispensable actor here in the region. So that explains, I think, a different approach and that focus on what they can actually achieve together instead of, having strained relations and always, a relationship ridden with conflict.
Right, trying to smoke the peace pipe. Thank you very much, Julia Hahn in Istanbul.